Everybody here has their phones and their connectivity, with excellent connectivity and excellent place to do business. And think about a business. Is there a business left in Hong Kong that doesn't use the internet? If it is, it's going to be tiny and it's going to get smaller. Because there's a business next to it that's using the internet. Something as simple as a website to sell a product of some kind or another. We had an interesting, we had a small family business that sold dried seaweed, whose revenue went up by a factor of 5. Right? Who knew, right? That was going to be the entrepreneurial company for 6 months, but it was. So as part of this, we want to participate in creating a better ecosystem for entrepreneurs. There's a myth that entrepreneurs work by themselves. There's a myth that somehow they sit in their apartment in one of these tall towers and they think about it by themselves. In fact, they are members of an ecosystem of people who help them. And it's never been cheaper, never, ever, ever been cheaper to start a company than today. Again, because this is an easy place to do business and because the internet makes it possible. So let me talk about the environment I'd like to see here. I'd like to see an environment where you have coaches and mentors. And by the way, you think that it doesn't matter? I had a coach when I started at Google. And I was already an established executive. That coach, his name is Bill Campbell, helped me enormously in navigating the problems of growth. I credit him with the success of the company. I think this university, the programs we're working on now, can create those coaches. And then another generation of young people going off to create their dreams will have that. The interesting thing is that there's this whole old adage of, think global, act local, is essentially now gone. That you not only do you have to operate locally, but you have to operate globally at the same time. It's an interesting problem. So I was thinking about it. Here we are, we're in Hong Kong. What is Hong Kong going to be over 50 years? It's going to be the gateway to China. By the way, it has been for the last 50 years. This is not a new insight, by the way. So what will happen is that the entrepreneurs from here will never do something just for Hong Kong, but they'll do everything for Greater China. And then with this new model, they'll serve India and Indonesia and the Philippines and Southeast Asia and all of that, maybe even Japan, and maybe even Korea. So in this program that we're announcing, what we're trying to do is identify people who are entrepreneurial and send them to learn, right? To have mentors and to learn, to be Silicon Valley entrepreneurs, to learn from what we know. It's interesting that serendipity is very strange. When I started at Google, I shared an office, as everyone does. I was the CEO, unusual. Imagine the typical Hong Kong structure. Did you do that? It worked. And my office mate, his name was Schmidt, I found out was in charge of planning all the revenue for the company. It's a small company. The serendipity of that meant that I, as the CEO, knew exactly what was going on in our business every minute because he was sitting right next to me. That's what entrepreneurship is about. Instead of having the big office and the planned staff, you sit next to, in this case, a young programmer, right, who could do it. It's a different model than the traditional corporate models that you're describing. So, to me, being a programmer, which is what I am, and an entrepreneur, which is what I've always wanted to be, are the two most exciting things that you can do. Programmers think in terms of scale and impact, and entrepreneurs think about what is possible, not what is not possible. Right? They're dreamers, they're visionaries. We need more of them. This is literally the first event that I will have done with respect to Google to try to promote entrepreneurship directly with the university. I cannot think of a better opportunity in a culture which I understand is natively entrepreneurial, right? You have this groundswell of very smart people, right? Because of all of the history and culture here to really do it. What I'd like to do is I'd like to actually finish by inviting a couple more people up on stage. And I've been given their names, I'm